Are you considering online public school at home for your kids? Or are you wondering about the differences between homeschooling and online public school? Today, I want to share my thoughts about that as a homeschool parent and former public school teacher, and just give some reasons why you might want to choose one or the other option for your family. So, first, I want to quickly explain the difference between online school at home and homeschooling. So, public school at home, or virtual public school, or online school is a little bit different than homeschooling. So, public school at home is when families are teaching their kids at home using resources that are provided by a traditional public school or an online school. And homeschool families who aren't using the resources from their public school might also choose to find an umbrella school for homeschoolers that provide sort of a similar arrangement where they're in charge and they provide all of the resources for your homeschool. This is really different because in this model, public school at home, the school is the one that's choosing the curriculum. The school is the one that's choosing the schedule, and the school is the one that's kind of making sure that the work gets done. So the school is probably going to be teaching the lessons, the school is going to be assigning the work, and the school is going to be giving grades. So the big difference between online school, virtual school, public school at home, and homeschooling is that in this online school model, the primary teacher is not the parent. The primary teacher is not the parent. And so this setup puts parents in a really unique and difficult position of trying to carry out a lesson plan that they did not create. And that's a really big thing because when you're teaching your child, it's important to communicate to your child who it is that's responsible for their education. And in this online public school model, kids see that online teacher or that online school as their authority in this area of their lives and their expert, but then the parents are the ones who are supposed to be carrying out the plan and making sure that kids get school done. But at the same time, we're sort of sending our kids a mixed message when we choose this model because we're communicating that their teacher is online, but we're the one that's expecting them to do the work. So we're sort of giving away a little bit of our authority to this other teacher and communicating that this other teacher is maybe a better teacher for our child or maybe knows more about the subject, and yet somehow we're still the ones that are asking them to get the work done. So it can be kind of confusing for kids and really a unique and sort of challenging position to be in as a parent. There are definitely some pros to the online virtual school situation. One of them is a legal advantage, and that is that if you have oversight from a school, either a virtual public school or an umbrella school, which is sort of the legal name for it in states that have those legal requirements. Anyway, if you have oversight from that kind of a school, it will allow you to avoid a lot of the legal requirements that are in place for homeschoolers in many states. Often the umbrella school or the virtual school will take care of those legal requirements for you. And so if you live in a state that has a lot of legal requirements for homeschoolers, sometimes an umbrella school or a virtual school can be a really good choice for you to make sure that you're fulfilling all of those legal requirements that you have. It also really eliminates the workload of choosing curriculum and planning lessons. So if that's something that's really overwhelming to you, but you still want your child to have the experience of having school at home, then sometimes a virtual school or an online public school can be a good choice because it allows you to still do homeschooling without having all of the burden of choosing curriculum and planning lessons. It also takes less time than learning in a traditional classroom setting would. So when you compare to a public school day where kids are at school for 6 to 8 hours, a online traditional school can often take a lot less time for kids to complete. So when kids are really busy, this can be a good option just to give them a little bit more time during their day to pursue their individual interests. Like I mentioned at the beginning, there are a lot of downsides to online virtual school that parents need to consider before they sign up for an arrangement like this. The first one is that it's not as flexible and it may not accommodate how your child learns best. Often these kind of arrangements have a lot of screen time involved and expect that kids will be able to sit at the computer and pay attention for long stretches of time. So if your child struggles in that kind of environment or isn't somebody who's a really motivated, independent learner, then online virtual school can be a real challenge because the kids can get distracted, and then it's on the parents to help them be able to focus and get their work done. This is also a challenge for parents because it's a situation where we need to enforce a school plan that we didn't create. So it's a lot easier as a parent to be able to get your kids to do school when you're the teacher, you're the authority, and you're communicating the plan that you created. And when you have the flexibility to be able to adapt the plan to fit your child's needs. When you have none of those things, it can be tricky to motivate your kids to get school done. And so this is something that we really need to work on as parents when we choose this kind of a setting, is making sure that our kids are motivated and helping them to be able to find that motivation from within to get their work done. Again, when kids see their teacher and not their parent as the expert in a school setting, it can be really hard for parents to still assert authority in this area and for kids to be able to listen to their parents as the authority to get the work done. And it can be really challenging, especially for kids who are struggling to stay motivated. It can also be hard for kids to get help in a virtual public school setting. Some virtual public schools have a really great system for what to do when kids are stuck or need to ask a question, and others it can be really hard to get access to the teacher. And so it's important to make sure before you sign up for a virtual public school kind of a program that you know what to do when your child needs help and you know how to get access to the teacher when it's needed. Public school at home might be a good fit for your family if you're planning to homeschool temporarily and then return to a traditional school, because it will allow your child to continue to follow the same curriculum and to continue in the same way that they were when they were attending the public school. It might also be a good fit for families who really don't want to plan lessons and choose curriculum, because that isn't a part of this sort of arrangement. And it also might be a good fit for families where your child is really motivated and is an independent learner and really prefers to learn in this online way. So hopefully this was helpful in giving you some thoughts about online school and umbrella schools and virtual learning compared to homeschooling. So please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments.